Hey there, folks. I'm Matt Hansen,
And I'm John Johnson.
and you're listening to
Planes, Trains, and Comic Books.
the podcast where we discuss favorites we've reread, comics we want to read, and everything in between.
And here's the comic we picked this week.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of
Planes,
Trains, and Comic
Books.
Books. You guys are going to enjoy this one. I think Wolverine is the book we read this week. What'd you think of that, John? Like, what did you expect when I said we're going to read Wolverine?
I was like, oh, sweet. Classic Wolverine tale. Like, I'm sure it'll be close to, like, the 90s cartoon or... It'll definitely be a lot of bubs and slashing.
A lot of bubs and a lot of snicks, huh?
Draw.
Yeah, it's and also, I mean, this is the so before we get started, hope everybody had a good week and all that, but we're just excited to get into this one. But the this is the Wolverine story. It's like a limited issue series. It's got 4 issues called Wolverine. So if you're looking for it, I think it's just called Wolverine, and it's by Chris Claremont and Frank Miller, who did the artwork.
Definitely Frank Miller artwork.
You know what? I was going to ask you about that because there was only...
Wait, it's a panel.
There was like... So normally it just looks like regular art, and then there'll be a face, and I'm like, that's Frank Miller right there. And then, but everything else in the panel isn't Frank Miller-y, you know? So, I think he was still developing his full style, or maybe they were making him kind of conform to the Marvel style. Like everything has to be a certain way. And then when he did his own books, he was like, I'm going to, here's what I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It could be. That's what... several times, yeah, it was looking at Wolverine's face, and it was very blocky and like grimacy. And I was
Some
like,
of
okay,
them.
that's Frank Miller.
I mostly noticed it in the women's faces, though. Like there was a couple panels, like I think I didn't see any Frank Miller influence really until like issue 2. There's one panel of Yukio that's like, oh, that's Frank Miller, like 100%. That's a Frank Miller face, and then the rest of the page looked like anybody could have drawn it. So it was weird to see like Frank Miller, not Frank Miller. The first cover of the first issue is like the classic. I mean, I think everybody's seen.
Everybody has seen this cover. That is any fan of the X-Men for sure.
Yeah, it's Wolverine with his mask down. He's got his 3 claws out on his right hand, and he's waving you in with his finger like, "Come and get me," and he's smiling. He's got this evil smile on his face.
You've seen that. It's on T-shirts. It's everywhere.
Yeah, this one is well known. So that's the first issue cover. And back in the day, it was 60 cents. So, and I think this is from I want to say 1982.
Yeah, I think 82 is.
Now a little precursor to this. So Frank Miller, prior to this, had written Daredevil, and at first he was an artist on Daredevil, and then he would be like, "Hey, what if we did this?" And the guy that was writing it was like, "I guess that's cool." And then eventually they were like, "Hey, writer, you suck." All that cool stuff is Frank Miller. So then Frank Miller started writing it. They kicked him off, and he was writing and drawing, and then they got someone to help him draw because it was a lot of work. But basically, that whole storyline of Daredevil, which is awesome, by the way, everybody should read that. Which we're going to read it, but not right now. But in that, he introduced the foot. I mean, sorry, the hand.
The hand. This is not TMNT.
Yeah. So he introduced the hand, which is like a ninja assassin clan from Japan that fights Daredevil all the time. And I believe Elektra and all that are Frank Miller's as well. So, and that all that storyline that we all like, when you think of Daredevil, you're like, that's all the Frank Miller stuff generally. So like Bullseye and all that is Frank Miller's run. So I think when he got tapped to do this, and he was like, okay, like we're going to explore Wolverine's like Japanese roots, or whatever roots he has there, because he's Canadian, obviously, so he's not Asian, and he's Canadian. So it's like, so his roots are he likes Japanese women apparently. Yeah. So he's a big fan of Japanese ladies. So he this is like exploring that whole side of it, and I guess Frank Miller was like, and maybe Chris Claremont did this on purpose, but he was like, let's throw in the hand and like have them be part of this, and kind of bring all that together in the Marvel universe. So I thought that was interesting. And for all those who don't know, the Hand, like basically Frank Miller was co-creator, some might say, of the TMNT universe too, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because if he hadn't invented the Hand, then Kevin Eastman and the other guy, I can't remember his name right now, who invented the Ninja Turtles, they wouldn't have had an enemy because they jokingly in jest named their bad guys the Foot. So that's the Foot Clan.
And that's why.
That's why it was a joke that they were making fun of.
That's why it got in your head.
Yeah,
okay.
That's why I got.
That's fine. I didn't realize.
So yeah, actually, Frank Miller inspired them for their bad guys to have that. And then even if you look like Shredder, looks a lot like Silver Samurai and all that stuff. So it's kind of he inspired. I'll say he didn't co-create, but he inspired the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles bad guys. So that's fun. But anyway, back to Wolverine. So Wolverine issue 1 starts very weird.
I'm the best at what I do.
Well, yeah, okay. Every goddamn issue of this, and this is a Marvel thing. I really hate this about Marvel. Every issue of this limited edition series, which if you're reading number 4 of 4, you think they wouldn't put it in there. But every issue starts with, I'm the best at what I do, and I do stuff like whatever you said, like
isn't nice.
Yeah, what I do isn't nice, and I got claws, and I got an adamantium skeleton, and a healing factor.
Yeah. Let me remind you about what my powers are.
Yeah, like every goddamn issue.
It's spoon feeding. That's what they do.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't need to be spoon fed on issue 4. I get it if it was the first page of the first issue. Okay, I get it. But why? Why does it have to be every issue?
It's because it's comics for everyone, Matt. So anybody can pick it up. And
no, I'm not a baby. All right, I know who Wolverine is, and even when I was a kid, I didn't need that every page.
I will have to admit, coming into this and seeing that again, I really am starting to see more of why people are like, oh, I like DC more than Marvel because of the way the comics
they don't hold
written.
your hand.
Yeah, exactly. I am seeing that more, and I am coming around to it.
Yeah.
Because I've always been a Marvel boy. I've always been like, fuck yeah, Captain America. I'm down with it. They tell me the same thing over and over. But now that we're like, I'm actively being a comic book reader again and going through this with you, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't need it every issue.
Look, you already have a fan base, and I would say at least 50 to 60% know what their powers are, know their backstory. You do not need to remind us every fucking time.
And this is like, I think this is like after the Phoenix saga. I mean, these are like after giant runs of, it's after that one we read, the Days of Future Past. So you would think that they would be like, all right, we have established readers, obviously, because we sell, a lot of books.
Yeah, it's not all new people buying.
So, like, while every issue doesn't need this, we're going to put it on every number 1, or we're going to put it in, like, in the front page, not on the comic, but on the front page of the back of the cover, we'll have, like, a little breakdown of who Wolverine is or something like that. I could deal with that. But to have it in the actual comic where I'm like, oh, am I supposed to read this? Every issue is annoying. All right, and they put it in like randomly too, like through. It won't be on the first page every time. It'll be on the second page, weaved into dialogue and shit. I'm like,
you can't hurt me because of my adamantium skeleton.
Yeah, I'm like, stop it, just stop it, god damn it, I'm an adult. So yeah,
Wolverine, we got it.
Yeah, we get it, Wolverine. You're a badass guy, and also, so this starts off weird where he's like climbing up a mountain.
He's in Canada.
He's climbing up a mountain for some reason. I think, is he in Canada or is he in Alaska?
He's in Canada.
Okay.
He's in the like Canadian Rockies. He's chasing after.
He's tracking a bear.
For a bear, because this bear killed a bunch of people.
And this bear killed like a family or a kid, or I don't know. He killed a bunch of people, but I think it says later on, it says, oh, he killed, this and that, this many people. So he's tracking them. And this bear he doesn't look like any bear I've ever seen, but you can literally see his muscles through his fur. So he's like, he's like a jacked bear. And like I thought it was Sabretooth or something at first. And then it was like, because it doesn't tell you what he's following or whatever. And then you see a picture of a bear. Also, the bear is gray, which was weird to me. I was like, why is it gray? Shouldn't it be brown or black or something? But whatever. So
they're gonna use enough brown and black inks in his suit and hair. So.
That's what it is. So the bear, sees Wolverine and is like, "Brrr," and first thing Wolverine does is cut off his arm. It just like, and there's not even like trying. It's just, that's when he mentions like, I got adamantium claws, the strongest metal ever known to blah blah blah, and I'm gonna give you my whole backstory of how I got them injected into me and blah blah blah. So he kills the bear. There's
an arrow in the bear's back.
Yeah, and he finds out it's poisoned. So the bear was poisoned, and then
he sniffs the poison. He's like, I'm gonna track this down. He sniffs it back to town.
Yeah, he sniffs the poison arrow, so he knows what the guy smells like who poisoned it. Traces the guy back to town, gets in a bar fight with him, and the guy punches him in the face, and then it kind of cuts away.
And he's like, yeah, it was weird. He's like, I guess I let him live. And it's like,
yeah, I'm
what?
Like, why didn't you? Right? I mean, I guess let him live, sure, because he can't kill a human. Although he does in this, so I don't know why he cares about this guy so much.
Well, it's like there's an underlying bit of the story where Wolverine is like obviously having like feelings of like, oh man, am I a man or like a creature? Am I a beast? And like, am I a bloodthirsty killer or am I, do I have feelings and emotions and stuff? And I get there's a little bit of that underneath.
Yeah, do I have feelings?
It's weird for Wolverine to, especially like this guy, he poisoned a bear and this bear went crazy and killed people. And then he's like, let this guy go, whatever.
Yeah, well, he brings him to court, though. He doesn't let him
go. But he picks and chooses when to kill people, oddly.
Yeah. So, I don't know. This guy punches him in the face with a glass, which the glass doesn't break, just the handle, which I thought was weird. I was like, wouldn't the glass
shatter?
Either shatter, because, he's got an adamantium skeleton, which means his nose bone and his fucking skull is adamantium, too. So, it's not just hitting a person, it's hitting a metal face. So you would think the glass would shatter. Whatever. They're not consistent on everything on that. But so then it just cuts randomly to
Japan.
Japanese lady's face, and it says her name is Mariko Yashida. And Wolverine's just exposition of I went back home and there was all these letters that were returned to sender and it's of my love, Mariko, and then I called their embassy and they were like, or the Japanese embassy, and they were like, we don't know what you're talking about. Go away. And they like hung up on her and he's like, bad move. And then it's him on a plane, like flying there, smoking on a plane.
On a plane. Definitely the 80s.
Definitely the 80s. Yeah. So he flies to Japan, and that was the other thing. I don't know. Here's some backstory that they could have thrown in. Was this the first time we've ever heard of Mariko?
I mean,
they threw in his adamantium and stuff. You'd think they would have, added. And the X-Men know about her or something.
I was once in love with this woman, man. Like that. That would be good backstory. Like, oh, we dated for a couple years, but she was tied to the
and then you throw in like, and I was talking to Colossus last week, and he said, "Oh, you got mail from Mariko." So like, okay, we know that
that is not what he said. He said, "You got the mail."
Oh, yeah, you got the mail from the post office.
But so he goes to Japan. And he like gets stopped at the security, and because he of course he sets things off. But he meets up with basically an old friend, Asano.
Yeah, who works for like the Japanese KGB, right, or something like that.
It seemed like he worked for the government.
Or I said KGB, CIA is probably what I should say. He knows this guy Asano from when he used to work in the Secret Service for Canada, and basically Asano was like, yeah, you shouldn't get involved with this. You should leave now.
He's like, nah, I'm here. I'm going to find.
Yeah, because he finds out basically from Asano that she's married. Like, Mariko's married, and that's why, like, she hasn't been responding to you. So then Wolverine's like, I'm not going to give up. And he puts on his suit. And this is also, I don't know if you knew this, the first, like, Frank Miller changed the look of his suit. Because before this, it was like the yellow with the black stripe. Thing. And this is like it's brown and
he introduced the brown suit?
This is the first.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I have to say, I know like a lot of people comment and they love this suit, and it's in games and they're always excited about it. It's not my favorite Wolverine suit.
I like this design. Now the best of all worlds is the animated series where they took this suit design with the pop-up front what's it called, like
Spiky
sideburn
ears.
holders or whatever, yeah, like the spikes. and then they just made it the old colors. So it's like
Best of both. Okay.
best of both worlds, because I like the suit design itself, but the coloring's like, it just looks drab. It's brown and dark yellow or whatever, you know, which I guess makes sense for looking, you know,
I guess
sneaking
maybe
around.
in their Wolverine-ish colors.
Yeah, and also just sneaking around, you're not bright yellow.
Yeah.
You know, you can't sneak up on Yakuza if you're bright yellow.
Yeah,
so
they can see you a mile away.
this is his stealth suit, I guess. But so yeah, he goes to see Mariko. He sneaks into her dad's house, and her dad's house is very like
It's kind of
Japanese
temple-ish.
castle. Yeah, like temple, it's got all that, you know, traditional Japanese architecture and everything.
And they did a good job with that. All the scenery looked really good.
Yes, I thought this looked really good. As far as like the book itself, like the art was great. Like I said, you couldn't really tell it's Frank Miller except on certain panels it would shine through. But like, yeah. So anyway, he goes there and there's like a giant Buddha statue, like we're talking 20 feet tall, giant Buddha statue, and he sees Mariko like crouched in front of it. And she's like crying, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, Logan!" Oh, here's another thing that annoyed me about this. They're in Japan. Obviously, they're speaking Japanese. Yet, every time someone speaks Japanese, they have to put like an asterisk that says "speaking Japanese." I'm like, yeah, I fucking got it. Like, and they also put like they even put like the what are they called? Like little brackets they put around it, so you know they're speaking some other language. That's what they do in comics. I don't know if you knew that, but when they speak other languages, they usually either put a bracket around it so you know like, oh, this is like what it's saying for us readers, but generally you know that's another language kind of thing. And they insisted almost every time someone spoke that you had to put an asterisk and then like
by the way, they're speaking Japanese.
Just in case you didn't know.
They're in Japan. And
They're in
they're
Japan.
speaking Japanese.
Yeah. So yeah, anyway, he goes up to Mariko and he's like, "What's going on? Like, how come?" And she's like, "It's too late, Logan. You know, I'm already married." And then he's like, "You owe me an explanation." And then when he sees her face, she's all beat up. I liked the panels. Like, there was a lot of action panels that were nice laid out. Like, it shows her and she's all beat up. And then there's like 4 panels of just like his face, like his eye, like a really close up of his eye getting scrunchy, like angry. Then like its teeth, like he's grinning his teeth, like in anger, and then like he's got his claws about to pop out, like you see his hand like flexing. It's the same shot in the next scene, like in the next thing of his hand, but he drew like a aura around the glove, so it made you think it's like tensing,
yeah,
which I thought was cool. I was like, that's a really cool way of showing it. There's no like wobble lines or anything. It's just like him with an aura around it makes you infer like, oh, he's tensing. And then the next shot is the same hand picture, but there's no aura, and you're like, oh, he's let off the tensing because she like grabs his hand. So, but she's like, no, you can't do it. Like basically,
I'm gonna kill that guy.
Yeah, he's like, I want to kill him, and she's like, you can't because it's like honor. It's like it's too late. I'm already married, and I can't go against my father's wishes, and that's how it is here in Japan. Which I don't know if that's the case now. I don't know.
Strong with anything, it's at least strong traditions of family.
Sure, I just don't know if like, maybe this is different because it's like a Yakuza dad, so that might be, or a clan, organized crime clan dad, but. I don't know if are they Yakuza or are they just?
I don't think they are, but they mentioned
it's supposed to be though, right?
Well, they mentioned the Yakuza as another. Like,
another gang. Okay, so there's another organized crime family. So like maybe back, with them, it is more traditional. Like that's what they're going from or something. But so then he's talking to her and the husband walks in and he's like, "What are you doing?" Like, hey, you get out of here. Like, she's mine.
Yeah.
And like, I'll put her in her place, and I'll also put you in your place.
Am I gonna have to beat her and then beat you?
Yeah. And Wolverine just like grabs him by the neck, and he's like, I'm gonna stab you. He says, you signed your death warrant. Mariko's like, no, don't kill him. So he drops him, throws him back, and then he just like leaves. And as he's leaving,
throwing stars.
Yeah. I guess shurikens, right? That's what they're called.
Shuriken,
But,
yeah.
so
Excuse me.
throwing
I
stars,
apologize.
John. Come on.
They throw them and they're poison.
Yeah, and they're poison. So he's like, "Oh my god! Luckily, no one knows my healing mutant ability," and that's where he talks about his mutant healing.
And then he goes to sleep.
Yeah, well, no, he doesn't go to sleep. Well, he like blacks
He
out.
blacks out.
He comes to pretty fast because.
But I only say that because I'm setting up that for the first time in the comic, which will happen many more times, he like quote unquote goes to sleep.
Yeah.
In this case, he blacks out, but this happens several times.
Yeah, Wolverine doesn't. I mean, maybe he's punchy or something because he just like one hit or one anything, he passes out.
Oh, yeah.
But
what happened?
You would think for someone with an adamantium skull, you would think other people's hands and whatnot would be way more sore than his head. So just saying. But anyway, so he wakes up. There's like two giant sumo guys like standing next to the bad guy Shinjin, Lord Shinjin, who's Mariko's dad. So he's like the head of the Ishida clan, and he's like, "You disrespect us, you come here like you're a fucking gaijin.
You gaijin.
You goddamn gaijin."
Which is basically not Japanese.
Yeah.
That's a nice way of saying it.
Yeah, sure. You're not Japanese. Although I don't think it's a slur necessarily. Because that's a word that they call people still. So I don't think it's... Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Just because
Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me and they're like, fucking gaijin. I'm like, oh, hi to you too.
Yeah. You gaijin, he's like, you have no honor, and we have to fight.
Yeah. And so the dad is like, okay, we're going to fight, but like, let's use fake swords. Which I thought was weird. They're not called fake swords. What are they called? Are they called something special? I think they're just like... They're just wooden versions of katanas. Yeah. Exactly. So, but they're like in the shape of actual swords. So, he's like, why don't you fight me? But still, Wolverine's still poison.
Yeah.
So it's still not a fair fight. And the dad knows that it's poison because he's the one who poisoned him. So I think they thought maybe he was going to die from the poison.
I assume.
And then he didn't. And then he's like, okay, I'm going to hit you with a wood stick.
Yeah, I guess basically insult to injury.
Yeah. And so he's basically, and Mariko's there.
Yeah, Mariko and her husband are there.
Yeah, but I mean, but Mariko's there watching him fight the dad. And for some reason, I guess because her honor is so great or something, which she's like, he's dishonoring me by fighting my dad and getting beat. Like, I don't get it. I don't get why she's like, let's just say this. She's not a ride or die. Let's put it that way. Yeah, she's definitely back and forth on a lot of this Wolverine love stuff. So it's like, I love you forever, but also I can't be with you, and I will always side with my family.
But family is important.
Yeah, apparently. So this guy's just kicking Wolverine's ass, and you get some really good like fight scenes. I like the way Frank Miller drew a lot of it because it's like, okay, I know exactly what's going on. Sometimes when people draw fights, I'm like, you just see like a hand and a foot and you're like, okay, who's kicking who or what's going on? The other good thing is like the bad guy's in green and Wolverine's in yellow and brown. So you're like, okay, I got it. I know who's the bad guy. I know who's the good guy. I also thought it was really nice of like Frank Miller put them in a room with shoji screens, which is that like rice paper screen.
Yeah.
So like basically he could make the background of every shot of this like squares or like whatever the shoji wood pattern was that's like easily drawn, which was nice, I'm sure, for him. So he could actually focus on like the action and just put like squares in the background.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool, but like he's fighting with the dad and then he's like, fuck this, I'm gonna use my claws, which I was like, well, that's dishonorable because the guy has a wood sword. And he does not have an adamantium skull. I don't understand why the wood sword isn't breaking on Wolverine. Like his bones are covered in adamantium.
Yeah, you would think it would break.
If a sword strikes you, it's a what? It's a strong wooden sword.
It's a really strong wood sword.
It's made of iron wood or something. So, but yeah, so Wolverine, fights him with his claws, and like he's hitting him, but he doesn't really make him bloody or like he's like hitting his clothes on purpose, not trying to.
Yeah, he's not actually trying.
Actually, I can't even tell if he's on purpose because he's drugged. So he says like, I finally I hit him, and he's like, but it's just cloth, not flesh or whatever.
So he's like just barely missing him.
Yeah, and then he does one swipe, and he actually hits him in the. He gets the dad on the face, like on the forehead. And then the dad like goes hardcore and like jumps down on him and like gets him on the ground and then is about to step on him. And then Mariko's like, no.
Now she steps up. Oh, no, don't.
Yeah. And basically he knocks him out.
Yeah. He's don't kill him, but he's dishonored the family. So
yeah, like full on. Well, okay. So the dad is basically telling her like, he's nothing. See, I beat him. Answer me truthfully. Is he worthy of such a prize? And she's like, no. So it's like,
all right,
just fucking give up your man. Come on. And so he gets knocked out
again,
and
then he wakes up.
Yeah, he just wakes up in the middle
street.
of the street. Apparently, well, I think it's like on a sidewalk because there's lights or whatever. But
I know, but I mean, like he's out in public now in the street. I did like this scene because he wakes up and then there's just like these like punky gang members are like, hey Gaijin, we don't like you here.
And they don't look, I mean, they don't show them, but like, I don't know, they don't look like they're Japanese to me, like the way that they are drawn.
No, it definitely reminded me of more like a warrior.
It looks like they're wearing jeans
Yeah.
and cowboy boots or like boots under their jeans, and then all of their skin is like white looking. And I don't know, and their weapons are like a pipe, a knife,
and yeah, I like their weapons.
Yeah, and so Snowball came
Snowball,
in. Hey Snowball, that's my dog Snowball. Everybody,
thank you for joining special guest today.
He must have been annoying mom, I guess. So yeah. So anyway, he's about to get jumped by these guys, and he's still like out of it a bit, and all of a sudden, or you just see this girl. And she like comes up to him, and because they all have knives in their back.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
so she threw her knives.
He's going to kill them, and then she does it. That's right.
Yeah, he was gonna like, let me just take him out, and then she kills him. And so she picks him up, and she's like, you're mine, Wolverine. Like she knows who he is, obviously, but he doesn't know who she is.
But for us, it's like this random woman shows up. It's like, oh man, you're my love, and I'm gonna love you forever.
Yeah, that's not suspicious at all.
What?
Yeah, some woman I've never known just comes up to me and says, "I love you. You're mine now." That's not weird at all. I guess Wolverine's full of himself though, because he's like, "Of course, a woman would say that about me."
And then he falls asleep again because he's still drugged, but still, it's like again.
Yeah. Well, So them.
And they wake up in like a hotel room.
Yes, I guess. And they're surrounded by the Hand.
Yeah.
So
that would be interesting to wake up and then like, there's where all these ninjas come from.
Yeah. We're surrounded. You just hear like, wake up. Like, it's weird because she just took out 3 guys. She's obviously very like capable and willing to kill. And she's like, Wolverine, wake up. And she like slaps him. And then like he wakes up and he's on a bed. And they're like literally, there's like 15 guys just in the house are ready to attack them. And he like the next shot. This is like where you start seeing the Frank Miller influence, to me at least. Like when specifically there's like a panel where the next panel after he wakes up, he like basically it just cuts and you assume, which I actually enjoyed this, where like it cuts from he's on a mattress and they're surrounding him to they're falling out of a window and he's jumping through it. I was like, that's cool.
I like that panel.
It implies all of this like fighting that happened, but you didn't see, and then you just jump ahead to him like pushing them all out the window and winning against them or whatever. And then as he's jumping out the window, you just see like 30 more Hand clan people like on the rooftops and everything. So I thought that was cool.
It was funny because in the panel, so it shows them like jumping out, whatnot. But then when they're on the rooftops, Yukio, this is Yukio, we find out,
right,
is there too, and it's like you didn't see her like jump through the window with him.
I think
Like,
she's supposed to be.
she's not in that panel.
Oh,
for
she's
sure.
not in that panel. You're right. That's crazy.
So I assume it's like a split second afterwards or something because
I
she's
think
not in that panel.
He's not. So in the next panel, like, yeah, it shows him jumping through the window. Like, he would not be able to stop on the windowsill. But then the next panel is him stopped on the windowsill with her, like, around his neck. So, like, she runs up after he grabs the windowsill, and then, even though he would not have been able to from that panel. But whatever. It looked good, so I'm going to allow it, all right? It's comics, everybody. Let's take a breath and, have some fun with it. But the next panel is the first time I was like, oh, this is Frank Miller. For real. Because her face looks just like a Frank Miller lady face. Like, I mean, the panel before where they're all falling out, if it was in a Frank Miller book by itself, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's Frank Miller. But just because nothing had really looked Frank Miller-esque until that woman's face, until Yukio's face on that second panel, I was like, I didn't register like, oh yeah, this is definitely a Frank Miller look. But yeah, so this is the first time you see that, and basically they're just getting arrows shot all at them, and apparently the hand is a terrible shot. I'm just saying, because there's like missing all over the place. And Yukio's with him, and it shows mostly Wolverine fighting, but she's fighting too, and she gets cut, and he's like, oh look, she got cut and her arm's useless, but she's still fighting, and he's like attracted to the fact that she's fighting well. And
so the hand is after Yukio, apparently, supposedly.
Yeah, that's what Wolverine thinks. Wolverine's like, why are they here? It must be after her, because they're trying to kill her, obviously, because they're going like real hard at her. And so Wolverine does his thing. He's killing them. She sees him. Well, she thinks to herself like, wow, he's crazy, but like, and like in a good way, like, oh, he can take on all these guys. But also like, why are they going so hard after me? Because as you find out later on, she's one of them bad guys. So, I mean, this is like a very simple story of like, Wolverine likes a guy, or not a guy. Wolverine likes a girl whose dad doesn't like him. Dad sends assassin to kill Wolverine. She falls in love with Wolverine, and Wolverine has to choose, I guess. But even though he doesn't have to choose, he
could definitely make an easy decision. But
yeah, but I mean, I would have chose Yuriko myself. But anyway, you learn that her name's Yuriko, and I'm sorry. Oh my gosh!
Because you're doing the
I went back to so before this comic book started, I was telling John how, or before this podcast started, I was telling John how in the animated series there's a character named Lady Deathstrike who you might know from X2, the movie, and she was played by Kelly Hu in X2, but she has like she has like claws that come out of her fingers, and they're adamantium too. She has an adamantium skeleton, and while I was reading this, I'm like, is Yuriko? Is Yukio? Is she Lady Deathstrike? And then I looked up Lady Deathstrike, and Lady Deathstrike's name is Yuriko, and it's a different person.
And that's because that's what Wolverine calls her a lot, instead of her like her villain name.
Yeah, in the animated show, he would always call her Yuriko, because he loved her too. Apparently, Wolverine likes Japanese ladies. He's big fan of Japanese ladies. So, and he doesn't know which one he wants to pick, because apparently he's loved a lot of them. But anyway, her name is not Yuriko, it's Yukio. Sorry. If I say that, I'm going to say it again, and it's just because in my head,
I'll correct you.
I got them confused. I was like, oh, this is the origin story of Lady Deathstrike. It was not. I had to look it up like after issue 2. I'm like, oh, I'm dumb. No, it's not that. So anyway, so he picks her up. He takes her back, because she's injured, after that fight. He takes her back to his hotel, and she's like mending him, and he's like laying on the furniture, like, he's shirtless in his spandex pants or whatever.
That's true, but that's where she finds out that, oh, you got a like extra cool healing factor. So.
Yeah. And I don't know why they wouldn't know that already. I mean, don't they know who Wolverine is from the X-Men?
Apparently they don't know.
Apparently they don't know anything over there. But anyway, so
they devise a plan. They're like, they're gonna go kill the leader of the Hand.
Yeah, but they're talking, and he's like something. He noticed the daggers, like when she first like or when she first saved him from the I say saved, but when she killed the guys that were trying to mug him, and then he's like, something's weird about it, and then she pulls out another dagger while they're like about to make out, which I thought was weird. He's like, he starts like massaging her shoulder, and then she like turns around and she tries to stab him, and she's like, I can defend myself, and then like he even says like, I hurt her, like, because he grabs her arm. He's like, my attack is instinctive and reactive or whatever, and without meaning to, I hurt her because he grabs onto her so hard, but she's like fine with it. She's like, oh, strong man. So she's about to like make out with him, and while he's about to kiss her, just Mariko's face pops up in his head, or pops over his face in the panel, and so he's like, I can't do it. I can't. Like it basically he says the body is willing, but the mind won't respond. He says, my eyes see Yuriko's face, but my brain transforms the image into Mariko. Also, they could have named them different names, so they're not so close.
Yeah, they all have the alliterate and they go together.
Mariko and Yuriko, or Yukio. I said it again. That's why. Okay. So Yukio's face and Mariko's face got swapped in his mind, and he's like, no, I can't, because that's the thing. He still loves his Mariko, even though he like has no problem like putting himself in situations with Yukio. So yeah, but anyway, he turns her out, and then and so Yukio goes from there. She goes to the tower, I guess, where the dad works, because it's like a business place or whatever, like his office. And she's all mad because he I thought this was funny. So the dad, Shingen, obviously hired her, and she's mad because the hand was sent to kill Wolverine attacked her at full force too, and she's like, what the fuck? And he's like, well, duh, I can't like have them half attack you, or he'll be like, that's weird. So he's like, you can handle yourself, right? Like, this is going to be a thing where like I can't not pretend to, or have them like go half force against you, so that's what's going to happen. And you're supposed to kill him already. Like, what the fuck? Why aren't you doing it? You have to do it. He's like, deal with it. You have to do better at trying to kill Logan. Meaning, like, you gotta use your feminine wiles, get him in a compromising situation,
and take him out.
In the meantime, he's gonna, of course, send hand, as he can to there. But then it just cuts to, I guess they're just them swimming underwater, which is weird, but they just cut to that.
I guess they're going to infiltrate now. They're going
to infiltrate. They're together, they're climbing up walls, or actually she's clinging onto his back,
him, and he's
climbing up walls. And I'm like, wouldn't Wolverine climb with his claws? Like, wouldn't he just like? Chink, chink, that's what I would do. I guess, yeah. He's in stealth mode. I forgot. So I don't know if this is the dad's house or if this is just like a playhouse, but they're.
I couldn't tell because they go.
There's guards everywhere,
and like when they see them through the window, they go there and they see through the window. They've got the leader and Maruko's there and her husband's there, and then a play is going to happen, and you're like, oh, okay,
right, but it's just for Katsuyori and his wife, and who's like the competitor rival guy, and then for Mariko and her husband, who we already know is like a bad guy anyway, but they're like trying to get more into the family or something, like the family business or whatever. So anyway, but it is like a theater. Like, there's seats for like 100 people, and there's a stage, and like a play is going to happen, and they're there to watch a play. So that's why I was like, is this his house, or is this like we brought a bunch of guards to a special theater and it's just for us four? Which I thought was weird too. I'm like, if I was the head of like a clan and like my enemy was like, hey, you want to come to a play, just us four, I'd be like, no, that's fucking weird.
Good.
Yeah, that sounds like a trap to me, but whatever.
Yeah, the play gets to start. The first actor like comes out and he pulls out like his sword, and this was weird. It's like Wolverine like was like, like he knew something.
It's a real sword.
Yeah,
I think because it was a real sword.
Yeah,
yeah, it just looks. It looks extra shiny. I guess you can tell it's a real sword. And he's also surprised that Mariko's there. He sees that guy's got a sword and he's going to attack. But before that guy can attack, he attacks. Wolverine attacks.
That was a cool panel because they both like jump at each other and you see the like.
Well, I think the samurai was jumping at, or the actor that's in the samurai outfit was jumping at the
head
enemy guy. Yeah. But Wolverine like jumps at him.
Gets there just in time. And
also, there's no red blood in this generally. I thought that was weird. But I guess like they can't show blood in these comics.
Probably, yeah.
So, but the blood's all black and it's just like coming out of him on his from his midsection. Then Yuriko's got blood all over her face from that because the guy lands on her. And the blood on her face also black. So that's weird, I thought.
Maruko.
Who did I say?
Oh
my God!
Maruko gets blood. Maruko gets blood splashed on her face, and then all the other actors come out, and I guess they're all not actors. They're all there to kill the other leader. So Wolverine fights and kills all of them. In front of Maruko.
We also have the first time he says "bub."
That's true.
In this, I don't know if that's definitely not the first time he said it.
No, but in
this comic,
bub.
He says the word "bub," and I thought that was fun.
Hell yeah. But I love like Maruko is so shaken by seeing all of this, and then like Yukio is over in the side like, ooh yeah,
she's like down with it.
She's like she saw this and she's shaking, and I'm like falling in love with him.
Yeah,
look at him kill all these people.
What is it? She's going crazy, and I'm reaping all the benefits. Yeah, but then like so they all run, all four of them, of the Mariko, her husband, and the Katsuyori head guy and his wife run out.
They all run
the theater, and all their guards are dead already because Yukio, right? Yes, yeah. Yukio killed them. Now I got to be extra careful when I say her name. So Yukio's killed them already, and you note that she did it because there's all these knives on their back. So she only throws knives at people's backs,
and she's got a lot of them apparently.
Yeah, they get in. Katsuyori and his wife go in their limo, and it blows up. And basically, Yukio killed him. And like she says, like gotcha, because like she put the bomb in his car, and that's basically why they were there anyway, so that they could get killed. It's for Shingen. So mission accomplished for Yukio, but Wolverine's still fighting the guys, and they're like hitting him with the swords finally, and he mentions going berserk. So he goes into his berserker rage and kills all of these guys. Just, you know, in a matter of minutes, the battle's over, is what he says, or what he thinks to himself. And I don't get this either. So he's like, I'm the only one standing. I'm done, you know. And then he turns and Mariko's like, I can't believe it. You're a beast. You know, like, yeah, I'm so in shock. I'm like, he just saved your fucking life, you know? What was he gonna do?
At what cost and what craziness?
It shouldn't matter. He's a warrior, right? It should be like you did.
But he's crazy and bloodthirsty beast. Like I just saw it. I can't take this.
I guess. But in the meantime, Yukio is listening at the door, and she sees that Mariko is like, and then Yukio's like, Logan's son, my beloved Wolverine, gotcha. So, yeah. So she's like I've gotten kind of rid of Mariko's love for him because now
she saw what he really is.
But I like what he really is. Ooh. A beast. So now I guess starting issue 3, you know, since he's now a beast that Mariko can no longer love, he's just on a bender. He's like in a bar and he's fighting a sumo guy, but he just picks this dude up like it's nothing. And if you remember, like Wolverine's supposed to be like 4'9" or something. He's supposed to be like super stocky, like tiny person that's all muscular and buff.
We have it in our head that Hugh Jackman Wolverine.
No,
it's like no, that's right. He's supposed to be
5'4" or something.
Small little dude.
Yeah. But yeah, so Yukio is watching him like beat all these guys up. They're drinking a lot.
She's like, yeah,
she's all into it. And then his buddy Asano, who he met at the beginning, who's part of the Japanese CIA, is there too, like waiting for him. And as him and Yukio walk out, he's like, "Hey, what are you doing? What are you trying to prove? You know, you shouldn't hang out with this lady. You know, like he wants, basically he's asking Wolverine for help, you know, to get involved or to get into.
He's like, look, you're doing this, you're going on the wrong path. And by the way, these people are taking over here and basically trying to control the whole underground criminal organization. And if they control that, they're basically going to get control of Japan. So like, I need your help.
Right. And he puts his hand on, like Yukio's, come on, let's go. And starts pulling Wolverine away. And Asano's like, hold on. And like puts his hand on his shoulder. And Wolverine's like, your hand, Asano, move it or lose it. and then it's like he has his answer. So,
fuck you.
Yeah. So I'm about to go fuck her. So no. And then
it shows the hand watching from above.
Yeah, it shows like basically there's like 40 guys with arrows that are waiting to attack them.
It shows them walking and they're drunk.
Yeah, and Yukio's like, oh, let's go to my special makeout spot. It's this cool makeout spot I love to go to, and it's like a train yard. She's like, let's make out on the train tracks. Doesn't that sound fun? Like nothing weird here about making out on train tracks. And
yeah, she pulls down Wolverine. They start making out on the train tracks.
Yeah,
just as.
Well, yeah. So even though he's drunk, he's like, I'm so drunk. But then in the back of his head, he's like, I can feel the vibration from the train coming before, like, even though I'm drunk, like I can still feel it like way before it comes. He's like, just in time. Or he said like when I like he senses the train and he says, then he says, when I do, I move fast. And he like, it just shows him like just barely getting off the tracks.
It shows the bullet train, and then like he's got Yukio, and they're like just barely made it away from the front of the train.
Yeah,
it's like, are you fucking crazy?
Yeah, and she's like, "What's wrong? Like, what's wrong with that?" She's like, "It's fine to die, you know."
I just want to live life to the fullest and die wildly or whatever.
Yeah,
yeah, and he falls asleep again.
And he passes out.
I assume it's from being drunk and then the crazy adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
But still, this is the 4th or 5th time in this 4-issue comic that he is like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, what happened? My hair.
Oh, my hair. Yeah, but then he dreams of like some weird samurai dream where he's like
we have like the dream world.
Yeah. And it's like him and he's fighting and he gets shot with a bunch of arrows and he's still alive. He's got all these arrows in him, and he just sees Mariko shooting an arrow at him with her father behind him, and he's like, no.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah. Then, so he's still sleeping, and she's like, "Wake up!" And then the hand attack, and she, starts throwing shit at them, knives and stuff, and so she kills all of them. But it was only like 4 guys. Earlier, you saw like 50 guys on the roof. So they attack. She kills them. She tries to wake him up. And while she's waking him up, he says, Mariko, like under his breath. So she kicks him in the head and knocks him out. I don't know why her kick doesn't break her foot.
She's got adamantium feet. You didn't know that?
She's got adamantium feet for the adamantium head. Yeah, but she kicks him, and then he is still passed out. But harder now because she kicked him. She goes back to his place, I guess, to maybe either wait for him or figure out some way to kill her. Or to kill him because she's like mad that he still loves Mariko. But she's like, she turned from... This is where you find out that she actually like loves him. Because before, she's working for the bad guy, Shinjin.
The turning point for sure, I think, was when she saw that she had gotten under Maruko's skin and like he killed all those guys, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that's so hot." Okay,
so it's just seeing him fight is what
I guess that it turned her on, and like
because in my mind I was just like it goes from like I'm working a job to like I'm desperately, utterly in love with this man.
Well, I think
pretty fast.
I think it was also hinted that like she was already intrigued and interested in him before, and she was like, "Oh, but I gotta kill him."
Right, but she's like, I'm in love with him, but she also took him to the train tracks to get run over by a train and or get killed by the hand while he's passed out drunk. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems like she wants both. She wants to have her cake and eat it too. So she's in his room and she hears the door open and she thinks it's the Hand, and she throws a knife.
But it's not the Hand.
It was Asano.
Asano. Damn it.
And I don't know, maybe she was gonna, maybe because he had his gun drawn, so maybe he thought someone was broken into his house and he knew that, or he wasn't going to kill Wolverine though. So
No,
that's his friend.
he probably like heard commotion. That's what my assumption is. And then so he entered the room and then
and he sees the blade sticking out of his friend Asano, and then he's like, the familiar scent. He realizes, he says, been bugging me all along. Too late. I realize why. When I arrived in Japan and went to see Mariko, I was ambushed, hit by a shuriken coated with the same nerve poison that's on this blade.
The same poison.
So Yukio tried to kill him with the shurikens right after,
or at least it's the same poison that like they.
Well, no, I think he's setting it up that's all her stuff's always coated with that stuff. So because he said like that's why they're tying it back to that, because he's like, it was her, I knew it, and so that's when he realized, oh, she works for Mariko's father, Shingen. So then they fucking fight, or they're about to fight, and she realizes
like,
that, so she just runs
away. Jump out a window.
Yeah.
Another jumping out of a window panel.
Yeah. Looks great though.
Yeah.
I like
those a lot.
I like the way that Frank Miller draws like the glass and all that. It's very Frank Miller-y. I mean, when you look at like Sin City or any of those other ones, whenever someone's like jumping out of stuff, there's a lot of jumping out of stuff, but like very good, like with the motion of the glass and everything, just really cool looking.
I like the next one because he follows her and his face looks fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's true. Just like, and, yeah, but she's running rooftop to rooftop. I like how he shows the city, and it's just like a lot of it'll be like a blue sky, like a blue background, and then whatever buildings are running on are black, and then they'll just be like yellow or white window panes all over the place. So it's not detail, but you get like, you don't feel like it's just a gimme background. Like it feels like, because most of the time when they do gimme backgrounds, it's like blue and that's it. Like, but this was like, oh, you took the time to draw in some different size windows, so you see like there's more than one type of building, and one's further away, or there's like circle lights and stuff. So anyway, he's chasing her. She crashes into like some Zen like garden, like a rock garden.
Yeah.
And he's gonna shoot her.
Almost catches her.
And then like he's about to hit her with his claw, and then like an arrow right through his forearm.
Yeah,
which I thought was cool. He's like,
it's the Hand.
Yeah, then the Hand is there, and they got like ropes and they're tying him down, like
trying to,
what was it, like Gulliver's Travels or whatever? Like,
yeah, they get one around each appendage, and they're like pulling him, trying to hold him down.
Yeah,
he's like, fuck that, and he goes all berserker again.
Yeah, and he's kicking their ass pretty handedly. There's no only when it matters does he have a hard time fighting these guys.
And this is where Wolverine has that like existential question. It's like, am I a bloodthirsty beast or am I a man?
Yeah, which is weird. I didn't feel like this comic really, like, that seemed to be what they were going for, like some existential crisis.
But that's why we said at the beginning, but that's like the only time he ever had this again until now.
The only time they mention him being a beast or a man and him having an issue with that is right now. Other people have issues with it, like Mariko, and like the dad mentions like, oh, this beast of a man or whatever. But I never thought Wolverine gave a fuck about what anybody else thought of him or whatever.
It kind of felt like that when he got the guy who shot the bear at the beginning, but that was also just like barely until now. Yeah, so it seemed like they maybe were gonna set it up, but then they never really went back.
Right, but it seemed like he was okay with being part beast and part man. You know what I mean? Like he's an aggressive. I don't know. And it's funny because like once he like sees, or once he like accepts like that he is a man who can grow and change. Yeah. His face is funny in that panel. I mean, he just looks so hopeful, which is weird to see Wolverine like,
everything's gonna be okay.
I can go the distance. Like, like he just feels really, like the picture of him is just very like inspirational looking Wolverine, which is a weird Wolverine because you don't see him like that. But it says like, you took my dreams from me, Shingen, but only for a time. because I'm a man, Shinjin, not a beast. A man. And like he yells it at the sky or whatever. That's when he decides, I'm like, Yukio wants a beast. I'm not a beast. I'm a man. I'm going to go and I'm going to
get my woman.
I'm at least going to attempt to get my woman, but I'm definitely going to get Shinjin for doing this to me. And
I do like the beginning of this one though, because this definitely feels like the most like comic booky, because he's like resuits up and like he like gets all the weapons from the ninjas he handed.
Well, but first, before he does that, he's like hitting all the organized crime to hurt the dad.
That's true.
So I guess I don't know, takes a week or two to see like who's handing off money to who's got the drugs, who's got the whatever, and he just starts hitting all the dad's like business areas to hurt the dad like financially, and to get him all pissed off. And so it shows him doing that, and then like it says like the hand has gone after him. They sent all his finest ninjas because the dad's like, I want Wolverine as good as Dad. Like, why aren't you killing him? And then
give me Wolverine.
Yeah, and then some guy comes and he's like, Sir Lord Shinjin, a package for you. And he opens it, and it's supposed to be like, or you think it's like, oh, like Wolverine's head, because that's what he's waiting for. But it's like ninja hoods and a note, and it just says tonight on the note. So like he's like, I underestimated him. Summon the hand. So like he's getting all his hand buddies. But he's been sending all these ninjas to Wolverine, and Wolverine's just been collecting all their weapons. Like, what am I going to choose from when I fight Shinjin? So it just shows like a smorgasbord of any kind of ninja weapon you could want.
That's what I liked, because it's also something like you never really see Wolverine use weapons but his claws. So it was funny to see.
That's
him
true.
Like, I'm gonna get these arrows and some.
Yeah, he's got like you see him all dressed up, and he's got like a crossbow with a scope on it. He's got a quiver full of arrows. He's got like a Bowie knife on his belt. He's got two knives actually, which I think is funny, just because like you said, you never see Wolverine really like fighting with weapons other than his claws. So
yeah, he is a weapon himself.
Yeah,
but he's like, oh, I guess he's gonna have, he has a bunch of ninjas he's gonna have to fight, so maybe it'll be a little helpful. But
yeah, and then it cuts to Mariko, and she's in like her family's ancestral room, I guess, where like there's a kind of like a shrine of armor that was like her family's generational armor, I guess. And she's kind of like speaking to them or praying like for advice kind of thing, where she's like, what do I do? My dad's like a horrible like gangster, but also like and her husband is terrible, but like also Wolverine is has just been dishonored or whatever. So like what do I do? And then it cuts back to Wolverine and it cuts back to Yuriko, and she's breaking into the house.
Yukio.
Oh my god. Oh my god, this is gonna happen. Sorry. Yukio. And she's breaking into the house, and the Hand Clan are chasing her, and then like they're shooting all these arrows and shit at her. They miss that, but then she gets caught with a net, and she actually yells, "I'm caught!
I'm caught! It's a net! Oh no!
Oh no! Not the net!" So they bring the Hand brings Yukio to Shinjin, and he's like, I should kill you because you betrayed me, basically. But then he like,
but you and Maruko have something in common.
Yeah, you both like the gaijin. And he knows like I can basically use
him as bait tonight.
Yeah, use him as bait for that. So but he like he gives her a couple punches and a kick, and he knocks her out kind of. But then Mariko comes in and is like, "Stop it, father." And he's like, "How dare you!" Right as she yells, like, "Stop it!" And he pauses for a second. He's like, "This is Lord Shinjin. Report," to like on a walkie-talkie. And then he's like, "Respond! Don't you hear me? Answer me!" And then like it just cuts, and all the Hand. I don't know why they're smoking. It looks like they're smoking.
It did look like they were smoking,
but for some reason, I don't know if maybe that's the spirits leaving their bodies. That's what I'm gonna say because that's funny. But literally, out of every face mask, there's like smoke coming out. So I don't know what that was from, but they're dead, is what I'm assuming.
Yes.
So
Wolverine's here. He's killing.
yeah, Wolverine has
he's
killed them
coming
all.
for him.
So Mariko, her husband, comes and says like,
"Let's get the fuck out of here."
"Yeah, let's get out of here." Because
I like this. This felt really much like the walls closing in on him, and like, oh shit. So he's like, "We're getting the fuck out of here, bitch. Let's go." And she's like, so he's like pulling her along.
Yeah, and I like this too because like, and then all of a sudden you just see like, she's like, "No, I don't want to go with you," and then he's like, "I'm in no mood to argue with you, Mariko." And then you just see like the shadow of Wolverine come out, and he's like, "You heard what the lady said, bub." Like, like she wants to stay. And then, but then the husband like fucking puts his gun. He had a gun out, but he pulls a gun. He puts the gun to her head, and he's like, "She dies if you fucking move." And like he shoots at Wolverine, but then you just see a picture of thunk thunk thunk, and you see a pained face on the husband's face, and Yukio threw her knives at the dude's back and like kill him, and then Yukio kisses Wolverine and she says, "Don't worry, lover. I didn't cut Mariko, just her outfit." And Wolverine says, "You look pretty spry, all things considered." And then Yukio says back to him, I'm tough when I have to be. I'd like to stay to fight by your side." So she's kind of like, "Can I, like, do you choose me or do you choose Mariko?" And Wolverine says, "You can't." And then without word, she is gone. So yeah, basically he can't forgive her for Asano, but he can never repay her for saving Mariko. So so he lets her go. And then we get
finally
and you get it shows Shingen and he gets his ancestral sword out, and then Wolverine like plops down in the room from like skylight, and then he just yells Shingen, and then they're like, "Am I worthy now?" And they're just about to fight. And so pretty much this is like almost shot for shot the first fight scene when he had the swords, like pretty similar.
Yeah.
Except now they're fighting with Wolverine's got his claws and the dad's got his actual sword, and they're going at it, and the dad's like just pretty much hitting him mostly. He's cutting Wolverine all over the place, and he stabs Wolverine right through the stomach, which makes it so now he's close.
Oh yeah,
then Wolverine. This. Yeah, I thought this was a cool way to like kind of end it, but Wolverine like grabs the sword, and you can tell he's like, "What a dumb move," kind of thing. And he grabs the sword, and then he grabs the dad's collar, and then the next shot is like Wolverine with like blood red eyes, and you just hear snicked.
Yeah, like right through his head.
In his fucking face. So yeah, it was
awesome.
All his claws went right in his like face and mouth and neck. So it's pretty hardcore. It was pretty hardcore fight scene, which was done really well. I thought like this whole fight scene, but it's like a 5-page.
Yeah, it was
fight scene.
Like
yeah. So,
and I love like this happens, and then Maruko comes.
Yeah, and she's like, "Logan, father," and she sees her dad, and Logan. I think what happens is Logan thinks she's now like, "You kill my father, I'm going to kill you." She's like, "I prayed about it, and my ancestors were like, yeah, you should go with Wolverine."
Yeah, so, your dad dishonored the family, so
yeah, she's like, I thought about it, and yeah, my dad is kind of a gangster who's an asshole who dishonored our family name. So I think I'm okay with like she gives him her family's sword. She's like, "You can have the honor sword, Logan." He's like, "But I'm not worthy."
No,
she's like,
"Worthy."
"No, you are. No,
you're worthy."
Yeah. So.
Oh, Logan's son.
Yeah. So then the last, the actual last page of this is the X team. You see Nightcrawler, Cyclops, Colossus, Kitty Pryde, and Storm, but they're in like their house clothes, like normal clothes, not their uniforms. And they're opening a card, and the card has a picture of Logan in traditional Japanese garb for a man
with his big hair.
Yeah, with his big hair. And then you got he's standing with Mariko, and it's like it says His Imperial Majesty Hirohito, Emperor of Japan requests the pleasure of your company at the wedding of Lady Mariko of the clan Yoshida to Logan. And then Logan puts, hey, Elf, don't forget the beer, W. So Elf is what he calls Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much the end. They get married.
They get married and all is well.
And all is well. And Wolverine's happy. He's living in Japan. So what do you think about this one overall?
It was fun. It definitely had some weird moments, and then like you said, like this is I was noticing that too. Like you don't have to repeat it every issue, and then like I said, like Wolverine, like he like was knocked out or fell asleep. Wait, it seemed like a trope that they had to keep.
Yeah, it's like how do we get him to not be?
How do we go to the next? Yeah, the next scene. Yeah, we'll just have him fall asleep again.
Yeah. Yes, that did happen a lot, and I didn't notice it until you pointed it out because I was just like plowing through it. But like that's a device they use, I guess, because like it's Wolverine, so he's always going to be ready to attack. So you either have to make him like stupid with women or stupid drunk, or he just gets hit in the head, in order to make the scene change scenes. So yeah, that was interesting. Any other takeaways?
Not particularly. Like I said, the art was good. It felt like an 80s comic, and there were some unique panels and some unique, like you said, some Frank Miller things that were cool.
Yeah.
Definitely, like I said, some iconic images we've seen before. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, I liked it overall. It was a fun story.
Okay.
Definitely like, oh yeah, I'm down for more X-Men.
Well, yeah, I'm always down for more X-Men. It's cool to see like the lore.
Yeah, and you could definitely see like this is obviously what inspired the Wolverine since it took place in Japan, and
right.
Like you can see elements of what some of the things they pull. I always find that interesting too. Is like when they make a movie and they're like, oh, we're gonna like maybe draw from this comic, and you can see the things they pick, and it's sort of like honestly, this is a good story and it's contained or whatever. And then they like make a movie like, oh, we're just gonna pull like Japan and this little thread and this
one
thread,
thing, and that
but then make up this whole other shit story. And
yeah,
it's like you already have a story here. Like
yeah, no, they don't like that story. Like they do that a lot with comic book stories, and you can always tell. Like I said with Constantine when we did the Hellblazer episode, I was like,
all the cool stuff.
I was like, all the cool stuff is from the comic, and all the stuff that you're like, what is not from the comic. So a lot of the stuff in movies that's cool is taken from the comics, and then all the extra added stuff is like, why did you add that? I don't know. Some guy that's like, I don't know what Wolverine is, but shouldn't he have a ponytail or whatever? You're like, why would he? No. So they get weird ideas sometimes with these movies. But with that said, what would you rate this comic, John?
It was good. It wasn't. I'm trying to analyze a little like Matt Hansen, and like it wasn't groundbreaking, but it was fun. It was a good story, and I feel like they fell back on it some things too many times. I would probably say 6.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna give this one a 5. Not because I didn't like it, but our 5 is our like this is just a comic. It's not bad or good. No. It's just there, kind of thing. Like,
no, I would say like that's like your A-okay.
Yeah, like I wasn't bored, and I enjoyed reading it. As far as like, oh, that's where that came from, or oh, okay, this is that, and like, oh, I wonder if that's Yuriko, and it wasn't. But and then seeing Frank Miller develop, like, oh, there's that Frank Miller I see, or there's not. That's weird. I've never seen that before. But yeah, I give it a 5 because it wasn't like groundbreaking or anything. Like I said, I wasn't bored. It wasn't a bad comic. It was just, and maybe this is because like it's the first, like all of these are setting things up. But like I thought Days of Future Past was better than this because
there's only one issue of actual Days of Past,
but it's different, Like the story is different, and it's like it's future, and like we're doing all this crazy shit, and
and this one was just kind of like
like never once was I like I'm actually scared Wolverine's gonna die. Like basically what's gonna happen until it happens, and then you're like that's what I thought was gonna happen. So just about the details getting there might be change or whatever, but like he's not gonna die, he's not actually in peril. So to me it wasn't like awesomely groundbreaking or anything, so I'm gonna give it a 5. I guess on that note, we'll see you later.
See you in the next one.
Bye.
Well, folks,
Hope you enjoyed that episode.
if you did and you'd like to follow us on social media, our Facebook is Planes, Trains, and Comic Books, and our Instagram is @Planes, Trains, and Comic Books, all one word.
And be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more recommendations to add to your weekly pull list.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.